From a bizarre mud fountain in India that seemingly comes from nowhere, and a 20-foot rogue wave that nearly destroyed this hotel resort, to a waterfront restaurant in Russia that literally started floating away, and a train spotter in Pennsylvania that witnessed a wild derailment firsthand. Here are 10 mind-boggling moments caught on camera. The Volga River is the longest waterway in Europe. It rises in central Russia and flows roughly 2,200 miles southwest until it empties into the Caspian Sea. Along the way, it passes through the Russian city of Samara, where the locals don't mind building restaurants on the frozen water. Meet the Old Wharf, a large restaurant in Samara's historic city center. It was filled with hungry patrons on April 17th of 2018, when a large ice sheet crashed into the dock connecting the floating building to the mainland. Patrons watched from their tables as their lunch hour quickly turned into a short cruise.
Порвала тросы. Так ее унесет сейчас? Да, унесет. Надо звонить, наверное, куда-нибудь, нет? Все. И ту сейчас несет. Вон все трубы повырывала, мостки все повырывала. Да. И смотри, какая она ее точно унесет сейчас. Все, трубу оторвало. И его оторвало. Все, вторая труба не выдержала. Все, сорвало его. А это что за свищи пошли? Это он на катере смылся еще? Все.
The Old Wharf continued floating downriver until a tugboat arrived and dragged the building back to shore. Thankfully, nobody got hurt and nobody lost their lunch during the cruise. According to local authorities, the building had violated several safety regulations and wasn't anchored properly. We imagine they got a few bad reviews after this freezing fiasco. Nesquehoning, Pennsylvania is a small town in Carbon County, about an hour south of Scranton. It's home to about 3,300 people who all remember the Great Merman Avenue train derailment. It was February 9th of 2020. A local train enthusiast was recording as a cargo train passed through town. All seemed fine until our cameraman heard an ear-piercing screech behind him. He turned in time to see several train cars pop off the tracks and topple in front of him.
No, there's no markers.
Mark Samuelson drives up the Lehigh Gorge.
He goes to the Lehigh Gorge.
Signal, figure safe.
I was like, you will not be seeing them.
Our cameraman, Daniel Davis, said it was the scariest thing he'd ever seen. In hindsight, he's lucky he was standing by the crossing arm. Anywhere else, and he could have been flattened. Luckily, the train was mostly empty, aside from a few cars filled with paper products and plastic pellets. Nobody got hurt, but the railroad sustained some significant damage. The derailment also caused traffic headaches in Nesquehoning and forced a nearby elementary school to close while workers removed the wreckage. As for what caused the derailment, railroad officials weren't sure. There's a multitude of reasons, said one former conductor. All it takes is a small crack in the rail. On August 29th of 2021, Hurricane Ida smashed into the southeastern coast of Louisiana. To add insult to injury, the Category 4 storm struck on the 16th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. For many, those old wounds hadn't healed quite yet. As the storm approached, CCTV cameras at Fire Station Number 12 in Delacroix, Louisiana, captured amazing before and after shots of Ida's storm surge. Watch how it only takes an hour for things to change drastically. The first clip is from under the water tower behind the fire station. You can see Ida coming ashore around 10:30 that morning. Then, by 11:40, the whole area is underwater. Look at how it floods the highway outside the fire station and then fills what we believe is the interior garage. On Google Maps, you can see how this entire region is nothing but water and marshlands leading out into the Gulf of Mexico. The station and other surrounding buildings simply never stood a chance. Wind speeds climbed to 150 miles per hour as Ida came ashore. According to the National Weather Service, the storm surge rose to 10 feet on some of the barrier islands and reached over 5 feet in New Orleans. By the time it was over, Ida had caused roughly $75 billion in damage. Tacoronte, Spain, is a famous resort city on Tenerife Island, the largest of the Canary Islands off the northwestern coast of Africa. In 2003 alone, over 6.5 million people visited the island on vacation. They're lucky they didn't visit in November of 2018. If they had, they may have been washed out to sea. In mid-November, a fierce storm in the Atlantic Ocean forced government officials in Tenerife to put the island on emergency alert. Waves as tall as 20 feet were spotted heading toward the resort town. Watch as these tourists record those waves when they finally reach the seawall.
Es impresionante. La una y la dos. Y la de atrás, agüita. O sea, impresionante, impresionante la manta de agua que está entrando ahora mismo. Increíble, increíble, increíble. O sea, ahora sí, me cago en la puta.
Grábalo, grábalo.
Pero mira, no, mira. Impresionante, impresionante toda el agua que está entrando, colega, en serio. Esto es impresionante. Mira la basura como la rodó. Ay, Dios, Señor.
According to the mayor, local authorities evacuated about 65 apartments within a 2-block span. Thankfully, their swift action meant nobody got hurt when the waves came ashore. Elsewhere on the island, similar waves crashed through the glass windows of a hotel restaurant, flooding the building and sending broken glass everywhere. On August 21st of 2017, a rare total eclipse was visible over the United States. People from coast to coast got to experience a once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon. Twice, if you're lucky. This guy from Idaho was going to savor every minute of it. With his camera rolling and his eclipse glasses on, he freaked out when day turned to night. We're guessing he'd never seen one before.
This is weird. We're all tripping out. We're all tripping the out. Oh my God! It's getting dark! Woo! Oh! Oh my God! Woo! Oh! It's dark! It's dark! What the it's dark! It's dark! It's so dark! Take out a motherfucking drone, y'all!
Get a picture of this, man. Did you get a picture of it?
Holy
That's insane.
Holy
The 2017 event was the first total eclipse with a trajectory exclusive to the U.S. since the country was founded in 1776. Before then, the last time a total eclipse was visible anywhere in the U.S. was February of 1979. Technically, total eclipses occur somewhere on Earth every 18 months. However, it'll take another 400 years or so for the eclipse to happen in that same spot. So, unless this guy lives to be over 400 years old and stays in Idaho for the rest of his long life, he'll never see this again. The next total eclipse visible from the contiguous United States won't happen until August 22nd of 2044. Mark your calendar if you live in the Dakotas or Montana, as the path of totality should pass over your home state. Richland, Washington is a small city in Benton County. It sits on the confluence of the Yakima and Columbia rivers and is home to about 60,000 people. On February 20th of 2020, a few locals lost power when a massive flock of birds arrived in town. A man and his friends were outside on the porch when they noticed bird after bird landing on the power lines across the street. Before they knew it, hundreds of tiny birds were sitting on the lines, causing them to droop. It was only a matter of time before they snapped.
See if we blow out the power again. That's a lot of birds.
Yeah, you'd think the fire would have killed some of them yesterday.
Yeah, this could be a good one. That bottom wire.
Oh, man.
We're not giving up on it.
Yeah, very good.
Oh my goodness.
Any minute, though.
I mean, it looks like the power line's just coated with like it's...
Yeah, let's go. They're going to blow it up again. Anybody got firecracker?
No.
No. Starting to droop.
Yeah.
They're starting to get farther out that second line over there too. Well, there they go.
Oh, God.
They're running out of power. Yeah, baby.
So why do birds sit on power lines? The answer is pretty simple. They're warm. In fact, birds will clump together on power lines to generate extra body heat. Typically, you only see a few, maybe even a dozen at a time. They're so small that under normal circumstances, they could never break the cables. They're also too small to complete a circuit, meaning they can't get shocked. Birds are perfectly safe on power lines if their wings don't touch another cable, the pole, or the ground. That is, until a few hundred birds land at the same time. Then they might have issues. For 22-year-old Javier Melendez, August 22nd of 2024 was just another day on the job. He was working as a production technician in Marion, Texas, a small town of about 1,000 people in Guadalupe County. While working outside, he noticed light objects floating up into the air. That's when he spotted a small vortex in the distance. He pulled out his phone to record moments before the tiny cyclone turned into a massive dust devil.
What the Oh shit! Oh! What the Oh! What the? Oh, what the? Yo! Yo! What? Yo, what?
Afterward, Javier said the dust devil was one of the craziest things he'd ever seen. He froze in shock and simply hoped for the best when it came through. He could feel tiny rocks hitting his jumper and said the wind ripped his hat off like a wig. Thankfully, he and his coworker were unharmed and could laugh about it afterward. Dust devils like these form in areas where the ground is scorching hot. In other words, southern Texas is the perfect spot. Hot ground air rises through the cooler air above. The sudden uprush causes air to speed horizontally inward and toward the bottom, creating a vortex effect. This process repeats itself until the dust devil forms. Think of it like a spinning ice skater as they bring their arms in toward their bodies. While they're generally harmless, the wind can be strong enough to throw rocks and small debris. Javier is lucky he was wearing protective clothes and a hard hat. The general recommendation is to avoid dust devils if you can. Indonesia is no stranger to disastrous landslides. According to the country's Disaster Management Authority, landslides have only gotten worse in recent decades. They blame it on poor land use practices, heavy rain, and frequent earthquakes. They estimate that over 108 million people live in landslide-prone districts. That's nearly half the country. On June 26th of 2020, one of those landslides struck along the Trans-Sulawesi Road, which connects the cities of Palopo and Tanah Toraja. It split this small village in half, stranding locals on either side until help could arrive.
Selesai. Push.
According to reports, this landslide was caused by relentless rain in the area. Flash floods destroyed over 200 houses and impacted close to 1,100 people. Thankfully, nobody was hurt during this landslide, though we're not sure what happened to those who lived in the collapsed buildings. In the mid-2010s, the Saurashtra region of Gujarat, India, decided to solve its water crisis. Until then, the 11-district area suffered from prolonged droughts. Compared to the rest of India, they get significantly less rain, meaning their dams and reservoirs weren't filling as often as they should. Then, in 2017, work was completed on the Sani project, which saw water pumped into the Aji-1 dam from the Narmada River. From what we can gather, India built a massive pipeline connecting the two water sources. Water travels against gravity to fill the Aji Dam, producing this wild fountain-like effect. The Aji Dam was among the first of its kind, built after India declared its independence. Since 1959, it's been a crucial source of drinking water for the local communities. Before then, they had to rely on a small artificial lake built in the late 19th century. Thanks to the Sani project, the locals shouldn't have to worry about water again. Other dams around the world do something similar. Sometimes they fill up too much due to rain and are forced to empty the floodgates to keep things stable. Take this dam at the Funil hydroelectric power plant in Rio de Janeiro, for example. Watch how water shoots out like a massive fire hose whenever it needs to discharge a little. Amazing, isn't it? Imagine how fast that water is shooting out of there. It's not the kind of thing you'd want to stick your hand into. A similar scene occurred in July of 2022 at the Xiaolongdi Dam in Hunan Province, China. The Yellow River hydroelectric power plant underwent a discharge operation as relentless rainfall caused the river to flood several times. The summer of 2022 saw record-high water levels at the dam. Thankfully, they were able to discharge the water before something terrible happened. The discharge project occurred on July 5th of 2022. Locals flocked to the sides to watch millions of gallons of water race down the spillway and into the Yellow River. It almost looks like a giant sandstorm rising above the surface. The Xiaolongdi Dam is over 500 feet tall and about 4,300 feet wide. It can hold a whopping 50.6 million cubic meters of water and generates about 5.1 terawatt hours annually, enough to power 357,000 homes for a year. Lopburi, Thailand is a landlocked province north of Bangkok. It's home to about 758,000 people, including 2 warehouse workers who are lucky to be alive. It was April 20th of 2021. The remnants of Super Typhoon Surigay, the first named storm of the 2021 typhoon season, swept across Southeast Asia with tremendous force. In Lopburi, powerful winds and relentless rain caused widespread damage. That's when 2 men found themselves trapped inside a warehouse moments before the storm blew it over. CCTV cameras inside the warehouse were rolling when the storm moved in. Watch how it blows out the wall and rips apart the metal roof like paper. The camera goes flying and lands in a heap of debris as heavy rain pelts everything in sight. It was only after that rescue workers could inspect the damage and rescue our trapped employees. According to one of our trapped workers, the building began shaking violently as the wind picked up. That's when his co-worker called him over and told him to hide inside a car. They hunkered down and screamed as the building collapsed on top of them. Luckily, the car held up and both men escaped without injury. Elsewhere in Lopburi, locals dealt with the storm's aftermath as floods ravaged their homes and businesses. Unfortunately, this was only the beginning for Thailand and other parts of Southeast Asia. April marked the start of their tropical monsoon season, and storms like this were only going to get worse and more frequent. Wayanad, India is one of 14 districts in the coastal state of Kerala. It's home to about 850,000 people who deal with relentless monsoons during the rainy season. On July 9th of 2018, locals in the small village of Ambukuti gathered around an old well on the verge of collapse. Mutasi Kinar, which translates to Granny's Well, had been a landmark in Ambukuti for decades. Then, in the blink of an eye, Granny was gone. According to the locals, several days of monsoon rains caused the ground to weaken beneath the well. A sinkhole opened, and the well's weight caused it to collapse into the soft earth. They said the well began making strange gurgling noises that morning. That's what attracted the initial crowd and prompted people to record. If you enjoyed this video and want to see another just like it, be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.